Hey, Foot Clan, we've got a great mock draft episode just ahead. Before we get into that, I want to remind you about the Ultimate Draft Kit. You got player profiles, projected stats, tons of draft day tools, research tools, expert picks, and a whole lot more. You can pre-order it at the lowest possible price right now at ultimatedraftkit.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from pristineauction.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. It's time to mock draft, my friends.
It's time for the Laka-Daka.
The ding-a-dong is the maka-laka-ding-dong.
Jason is here with us, very excited for the mock draft show.
How did that really become a thing for this show?
It didn't. Remember. It's never become a thing.
It just
when you saw it on social media, the response Jason got last year when he exclaimed with pure glee, Maka-Laka-Ding-Dong.
Look, mock drafts
we knew it had to come back.
Are super fun, and
it's not even a mock draft anymore.
For many years, people have always, especially this time of year, they always say, can you please do a Dynasty startup mock draft? And we're like, no, we can't. that would take too long, or these issues. But we decided to say yes.
Well, we decided to say 50% yes.
Right. We're not going to do a 30-round mock draft.
No, today we are going to be doing a Dynasty startup mock draft, drafting from the 6th position, a 12-team league, half point per reception, 2 wideouts, 2 running backs, 2 flexes, a tight end, no kicker, no D.
Yeah, get out of my life.
And we are going to do a live here on the show. We're going to draft as one team.
We would usually have about 18 bench spots, but we won't do that for your viewing pleasure.
How far are we going?
As far as we can.
Okay. Whoa, great answer.
Yeah, as far as we can. We'll see. Quick question on the show today, by the way. Do you ever root against your favorite team in favor of your fantasy team, Jason?
All the time, because my favorite team is the Cardinals. And so my rule is basically this. If my team, my NFL team is doing well, if they've got a shot at the playoffs, if they can make a run, then they are the priority, because that's real life. We've never had a championship. I'm a Cardinals fan. I don't know that feeling. So yes, that would matter much more than my fantasy team. But if the team stinks, if the team is your Arizona Cardinals 2018, 2019, I don't care. I don't give me the wins. I want the win.
I experienced the ultimate test of this real life team versus your fantasy team a few years ago, when it was literally the playoffs on the line for the Arizona Cardinals. It was a home game. I went to the game. We were playing the Seattle Seahawks, and Andy and I were facing off in the championship match. This was week 16. Cardinals had to win to stay alive, lose, and they are out of the playoffs. This is the Marshawn Lynch era. I have Marshawn Lynch. This was the primetime game. I can't remember if it was Sunday or Monday. I think it might have been the Sunday night game. But I have Marshawn going, and I need him to come through with massive points
against your home team.
Against my home team, knowing that if Marshawn Lynch has a great game, Cardinals are done. They're out of the playoffs. And this was it's such a conflicting game. This was the one, I don't know if you remember this, Jason. Marshawn wasn't there to start the game. We have no idea what happened. I think it was probably his
you
back.
Were freaking out, I remember.
But he was not there. He was nowhere to be seen. I had the in-ear radio going. No one knew where Marshawn was. So now it was me going from rooting for Marshawn.
Wait, was this Beastquake 2.0?
This turned into Beastquake 2.0.
Oh, no.
So Beastquake 2.0, the end of the story is won my fantasy championship, also knocked the Cardinals out of the playoffs. So it was
how did you feel?
I felt like a winner.
I mean, that's really when push comes to shove and you're in that situation. It's how do you feel? Did you walk away happy or sad?
I got the hardware.
First of all, that's a title game. That's different.
Yeah.
Second of all, the only thing worse than that happening is if the Cardinals have been knocked off and your main fantasy assets on the Seahawks hadn't been used. There's always the silver line. Oh, they scored on us, but at least it was my guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for that. That was really fun. I remember really being excited when Marshawn was nowhere to be seen and wondering what happened. But
I was upside down.
yeah, you were
from
tilting.
the rafters.
Yeah, you were. All right, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. If you want to watch the show, we've always got some good mock draft content. As it's going live, Brooks puts the draft board up on the screen. Twitter, @theFFBallers. The website's thefantasyfootballers.com. The community of listeners is found at jointhefoot.com. More than 5,000 strong, mighty Foot Clan.
Very buff.
Yeah.
And make sure you check out the Instagram.
Performance-enhancing drugs are totally permitted in the Foot
Whoa,
Clan.
whoa,
In the
whoa,
Foot Clan.
whoa.
It's true. We don't do any testing
No.
at all.
None.
So you do you and go to jointhefoot.com.
How do you get this so strong?
Instagram.com/fantasyfootballers.
All right, let's get into the news.
News and notes from around the league. Presented by Sleeper.
All right, let's get into the news. Let's go with this.
Mediocre signing of the week.
All right, Randall Cobb was signed by the Cowboys to a 1-year, $5 million contract.
How are we going to do Randall like that?
Randall's done us like that for years.
Oh, put it on him.
That's a fair point.
Randall Cobb was great. I remember that
He was
year.
the new hotness.
He was young. He was the new Aaron Rodgers #2. He was a great, bright, young fantasy dynasty asset
Years ago.
years ago, and then never.
The milk has expired on
Never.
Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell right, and he's not going to perform for Dallas. I just don't buy it. This harkens back to the Tavon Austin signing.
Yeah, possibly. It's Randall Cobb has to replace Cole Beasley on this team, so there could be some targets here for Randall Cobb. I agree. It's probably a mediocre sign of the week,
Let
but
me just.
it's at least sort of interesting.
Sometimes we say stuff like that and have fun with it, and it sounds. It just sounds mean, and there's no context. Listen, the last time Randall Cobb had 1,000 yards was 2014. That is 5 seasons ago. His yardage since then, 829, 610, 650, 383 last year. He hasn't played 16 games since 2015.
The health has been the bugaboo for Randall Cobb.
So between health, changing teams, he's not going to be the #1 target on that team.
No.
He's
or anywhere
getting a
close.
quarterback downgrade.
So we're not super excited about it.
No, I'm not at all. I don't think. Look, this helps.
Does it help Dak?
Yes, this helps Dak.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
love this for the Cowboys as far as NFL football. I think he can be a chain mover on those 3rd and shorts. But for a fantasy perspective, these are going to be short, unimportant, less valuable targets that he's going to be receiving. That I don't see Randall Cobb winning people any weeks.
All right, Blake Bortles signed as the backup quarterback to the Rams, A.J. McCarron, backup quarterback to the Texans, and Trevor Siemian, backup quarterback to the Jets. It seems like every year it is like a rotation of backup quarterbacks. It's a nice job. You get paid.
You get to see all sorts of parts of the country.
Yeah. Malcolm Brown, the Lions, have signed the Rams restricted free agent running back, Malcolm Brown, to an offer sheet. Yes. The Rams have 3 days to match the offer.
Yeah, let's
From
go
this
to the
point.
Let's go to the Kerryon Johnson truther. Jason Moore, how do you feel about this signing?
I feel so good about it. So good. I mean, the only thing that could have made me happier is if they had actually signed Spencer Ware. Look, the Lions needed another running back or 2. I mean, maybe they'll bring Spencer on too. I don't care.
Well, they brought Zenner back.
That's right. So
Malcolm Brown is better than LeGarrette Blount.
Yes, Malcolm Brown is better than LeGarrette Blount, but Malcolm Brown is not being brought on in a fashion to be the lead dog, whereas LeGarrette Blount was, I don't know why, the lead dog for at least half the season last year until he got injured and was out of the way.
Lions signed Tommy Lee Lewis, formerly of the Saints, and then this was reported, I just read this, Doug Baldwin He said,
Yeah.
was he talking to Cliff Averill?
Yeah.
He
On radio, and he said he has more surgeries yet to come.
This is not good.
Not good at all.
So if Jordy Nelson signs in Seattle,
I'm interested.
even with the low passing totals,
Yeah, well, not. I said I'm not like
You're not
punching
excited.
people out to get to the front of the line, but someone's going to have value there. Besides
that's fair.
Lockett.
That's fair. We will get into. Jason is pointing at me.
Yeah, I just wanted to make the case that because it was an offer sheet, Malcolm Brown could still be signed by the Rams. So the Rams have to decide over the next 3 days
I would
whether
be
or not
shocked.
to match that or let him go. I think it's a big deal in the sense that they haven't even offered a contract to C.J. Anderson.
That is the last report. They have not offered anything to him.
I'm guessing that they wanted to see what would happen with Malcolm Brown, see if they have to pay up. So this is going to put the Rams into motion, and it'll affect 2 franchises here.
I feel like they didn't offer Anderson money because they said, okay, go ahead.
Test the waters.
See what you can do out there off of your couple-game performance, and then when you get no offers as we expect, you will come back to us for very minimal money.
Could happen. We'll find out soon. We got the draft in almost a month. All right. Be sure to switch your Dynasty League to Sleeper. That's what we'll be using for the mock draft today. So you can download the Sleeper app right now.
And before we get into that mock draft, want to remind everybody, you're listening to the Footballers, but we're only twice a week right now. You need more nonsense in your life. Check out our other podcast, The Side Pod. Spitballers, it's completely entertainment. We ask nonsensical questions. We do fun mock
And
drafts.
answer them.
And well, we do answer them as well. We do fun mock drafts like this past week. We put together our own superhero, drafting powers one at a time. It's a fantastic it's a fantastic way to kick off the week because it drops every single Monday. No more case of the Mondays for you as you giggle your way to work.
The Spitballers are here for you.
The Fantasy Footballers Mock Draft.
All right. You want to lay it out again, Mike, for the listeners?
So we are going as far as we can for the Dynasty startup. 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and 2 flex spots because we got rid of those nasty kickers and defenses.
All right. I want to remind everybody, this is a Dynasty draft. This is not a redraft mock draft. We're talking about a Dynasty league. Youth is going to be prioritized. We're going to talk through the different picks that are made. We are drafting from the 6th spot, and the draft just started. Number 1, Saquon Barkley off the board. In fact, 3 running backs off the board to start the draft in this one. Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, and Alvin Kamara, followed by Odell Beckham Jr. and Ezekiel Elliott. People taking the sure thing at the running back position to start this draft. Here we are with DeAndre Hopkins on the board at the 6th pick. Todd Gurley, Michael Thomas.
Devontae Adams is another great Dynasty asset. I mean, to me, the pick that has fallen to us is one of what I would see as the top 4 Dynasty pick. Usually in these drafts, if you're newer to Dynasty or you've got a draft coming up, I prefer in these early rounds to look at wide receivers. We've talked about this before, but the shelf life of a wide receiver is so much longer. You know, you can grab Zeke, who I love in Dynasty. I want him in every Dynasty league I'm in. But Zeke in 4 or 5 years, he's very well near the end of his career, even though he's awesome. Whereas if you grab Odell Beckham, or the pick I would grab here, DeAndre Hopkins,
right,
4 or 5 years from now, they're hitting their prime. They're getting another big contract. They play far later into their careers, fewer injuries, things like that.
And the fact that you can it's much easier to get a running back in your rookie draft who ends up turning into a stud or just has enough opportunity to be very usable than it is to get an elite wide receiver. So Hopkins will be the pick for me as well because we know he's tied to his franchise quarterback.
The average draft position for DeAndre Hopkins in a Dynasty startup draft is 2.7. So he's normally he's a 2nd or 3rd pick, leaning towards the 3rd pick in the draft. He's sitting here for us at the 6th pick. He's a value in that sense, long shelf life. I'm with you guys. DeAndre Hopkins is our first pick off the board.
If you didn't go with Hopkins, Andy, who would you have gone with?
Honestly, I think he was just far and away the best pick. I mean, Gurley could have been in the discussion, but there's just the surrounding.
The one guy
I don't want to be the one to draft Gurley, as
Right.
dumb as that sounds. It could be very, very dumb, but I don't want to be the one. I want someone else to be the one.
And who do you prefer between Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams?
I would probably.
Jason's for.
I would take Devontae Adams.
I would definitely go Devontae Adams solely because of the quarterback age. I mean, how many years
That's
do you
how
have
I look
left
at it too.
of Drew Brees? Devontae Adams, to me, is in consideration with the Hopkins tier. They're both young enough, have a quarterback in place. They're the ones. If you wanted to take Devontae Adams over Hopkins, that's fine. But, yeah, Hopkins is usually going to be first on that list.
All right, DeAndre Hopkins was our pick. Gurley followed after. Then 3 out of 4 of the next 4 picks are wide receivers. Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, then Joe Mixon. Interesting. Joe Mixon, it
makes sense.
A top 10 pick in Dynasty. Mike Evans, then Dalvin Cook, and then we enter the second round.
I feel like Mike Evans is so underrated in Dynasty. I mean, I hear he goes at the back of the first, but I feel like people are disappointed. To me, I feel like, look, if you look at the career consistency charts, we've got those in the Ultimate Draft Kit. I've been building those lately, so my mind has been on how do people do year after year and the trends and all of that. Mike Evans has just dominated since he's been in the league. He's super young, has a young quarterback, has an offensive system in place.
Let me make an analogy for you. You ever put on those like funhouse glasses where you put them on and it blurs everything that you see through them and it makes it all weird and funky?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. In this analogy, Jameis Winston is the glasses. And if you put them on and you try to look at Mike Evans, he doesn't look quite right because you don't actually have the confidence. You look at the quarterbacks. Well, Odell Beckham has Baker.
Yes.
Hopkins has Watson. Thomas has Breeze for at least another year or two. Adams has Rodgers. And here's Mike Evans creeping up with Jameis Winston. You said you even used it as a point of favor. A great young QB. That was almost not their QB this year.
Yeah, but it looks – I mean, you're correct. It looked like they might go a different way. But now that they brought in Bruce Arians, let go of Fitzmagic, he is – I think he's locked and loaded in that role. I think he's going to succeed. So, to me, Mike Evans is a guy that – I mean, he came in the league.
Are you saying Jameis Winston is a my guy? Is that what you just said?
I like Jameis Winston.
Is he your guy?
Jameis Winston is in a contract year.
He'll be someone that I target in both redraft and Dynasty.
All right. Second round, Melvin Gordon, the first pick of the second round, then Tyreek Hill, Juju Smith-Schuster, Amari Cooper, Julio Jones, and David Johnson. So we have, 9 wide receivers off the board. We are sitting here at the 7th pick of the second round. There are a lot of players to consider. Some of their names, Antonio Brown, Nick Chubb, Keenan Allen,
Stephon Diggs.
Where are you guys looking?
It's tough because here already in the second round, I'll just pose the philosophical, dynasty question of would you rather have a player who's the best wide receiver in the game like Antonio Brown or a complete baller like A.J. Green who are up in their age group, or would you rather have someone like Stephon Diggs or Keenan Allen who – maybe Stephon Diggs' ceiling is not what Antonio Brown's ceiling is, but he's so much younger. You're going to get more years from Diggs or from Keenan Allen. So that's where owners are going to be on the clock in this position, and they've got to decide now or later. And usually
you will get more years from Stephon Diggs, but I don't think
you want 2 really nice meals, or do you just want a bunch of fast casuals?
I'm not looking at it like that. I want to know in these rounds especially, can you give me 3 years? Because if you're not in Dynasty, it sounds like a massive commitment to these players. Like I have these guys forever.
Le'Veon Bell
3 years is so far away.
Le'Veon Bell is 27. Diggs is 25. Brown is 30. Keenan's 26.
Brown will be 31 very soon, too.
I mean, I lean towards it, and Nick Chubb is there, too, and he's 23 years old on a great offense.
How do you feel about Nick Chubb knowing
Kareem Hunt?
Kareem Hunt
in a
is
dynasty?
there?
Yeah, I'll take Antonio Brown.
I lean Antonio Brown as well, even with him being the old man.
I would be drafting either one of three guys. I would go Chubb, or if I'm going wide receiver, I would be going Keenan Allen first, Stephon Diggs second.
Really?
You would take Stephon Diggs over Antonio Brown in a dynasty today.
I think Antonio Brown in a redraft.
Last year, he scored 70 points more than Stephon Diggs.
Yes, when he
I can't use last
when he
year
had
anymore.
Ben Roethlisberger. Yes, this year in redraft, Antonio Brown's probably going to be about my 9th or 10th wide receiver. Now, Keenan Allen might be my 12th wide receiver. Maybe he's below Antonio Brown, but, I mean, they're in the same tier now. We don't know with Derek Carr in Oakland. So, to me, if Antonio Brown was on the Steelers, yes, I would grab Antonio. But I think he's near enough these other guys where I would grab the 5 extra years or 4 extra years.
All right, so Keenan Allen or Stephon Diggs, who do you want? We'll let Jason make this pick.
Also, some people might wonder, why aren't we talking about Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Pat Mahomes?
Oh, I'm not taking
Ertz.
Mahomes here.
This is about where Mahomes' value will be in most home leagues. People drafting this time of year, he'll probably drop a little lower. If I'm making the pick, I would go
You are.
with Keenan Allen.
All right.
Okay.
I feel like both of you wanted Antonio Brown.
We did both want Antonio
We're
Brown.
going to shake it up. We're going to see what happens.
All right, Nick Chubb next, Stephon Diggs. Oh, we did take Keenan Allen. Travis Kelce with the 10th pick of the second round. Then Antonio Brown dropped to 11. Lev Bell, last pick of the round. James Conner, George Kittle, Brandon Cooks, Kenny Galladay ahead of A.J. Green. Kenny Galladay at 304, A.J. Green at 305. Another one of those decisions where Mike and I probably would have been like, hey, A.J. Green.
might have. I'm concerned about A.J. Green, his health.
I'm worried too. We have DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen. It's our third-round pick time. We're drafting from the middle of each round.
What is this, my dynasty team?
Oh
no.
Brooks chiming in.
Get out of here, Brooks.
Actually, it is. Yeah. Where'd you put the trophy from last year?
I can't find it.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
didn't think so.
Yeah.
No, you
Hopkins
were in the championship game, though, right? Okay.
and Keenan Allen. All right, so some names to consider, guys, at the running back position. Who are your top 3 still available? Is it Sonny Michel, Kerryon Johnson,
You know I'm going to be Kerryon Johnson. He's young.
Darius
I
Guice,
think he's
Leonard Fournette?
got the role. Yeah, but I mean, Kerryon Johnson, Guice, Fournette, those are the type of guys, maybe even Phillip Lindsay. To me, Kerryon Johnson would be my favorite running back. I would never do this in a redraft league where you only get the 1 year, but the one name that really sticks out to me here is Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz is who I would draft.
Zach Ertz is, I mean, in our Dynasty League, I've been trying to trade basically A.J. Green plus for Zach Ertz and have been coming up short. Haven't been able to get it. A.J. Green just went off the board. This is where, I mean, it's going to be rough, right? Because you start your draft, you go into the 4th round, you don't have a running back yet.
Yeah, but looking at the running back landscape, I feel like we can wait around, and then guys like who don't necessarily have the longest shelf life, but Freeman will be available. Mark Ingram will be available.
One of the things in a dynasty league is you end up able to piece together running backs for a year or two at a great value.
Right.
If you draft somebody that's older. If you draft somebody that is like Mark Ingram's a perfect example. He's not going to be way up the board in a dynasty startup draft. But he's a great target because you might get 2 years of starter numbers from him, which might not be too many more years than any of these earlier guys.
Yep.
Right, and on top of that, we took Zach Ertz. Why he was my pick? Because meanwhile, in a redraft league, there's plenty of tight ends just floating around on your waiver wire pool who you feel like I've got a pretty good probability shot of this guy catching a touchdown.
This guy's got a good
the
matchup this week.
Those guys are not available for you to just fully stream the position in your dynasty league.
So we're sitting here with Hopkins, Allen, and Ertz, 3 pass catchers.
Love it.
In hindsight, we could have gone Gurley and had Antonio Brown and Adam Thielen. Or you could have gone Gurley, Keenan Allen, and Adam Thielen.
I like where we are.
Okay.
I do too.
All right, Darius Guice right after us. He'll be a very interesting decision for owners to make and gamble. I picked him up in our Dynasty League. I'm hoping for the best. Patrick Mahomes at 308. His average draft position in Dynasty is right around the beginning of the 3rd round right now. Sonny Michel, Aaron Jones, Adam Thielen, Leonard Fournette rounding out the 3rd. And then we've got Phillip Lindsay, Kerryon Johnson, T.Y. Hilton, Seems like good value in a dynasty startup on T.Y. Hilton. If T.Y. Hilton's going at 403 and A.J. Green at the exact same age is going at 305, I think that's a good value on Hilton. Robert Woods, Corey Davis, and then Andrew Luck at 406. We're sitting here 4th round. No running backs. Is that where you're looking?
Couple of quarterbacks have come off the board, as you said, Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck. This is where a lot of players will start drafting their quarterback because quarterbacks, like wide receivers, they last a lot longer in their careers, 10, 12 years for a solid quarterback. I still play by the – I would rather get a Jameis Winston and pair him with another guy of that tier later in the draft.
All right, you guys are going to punt quarterback down the road. No Baker Mayfield temptations coming our way.
Oh, I'm tempted just because I like Baker so much, but I don't think it's the right pick.
So do you look at another pass catcher, Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry, DJ Moore?
Yeah, we are out of the elite tier, or at least the known elite tier.
Running back wise, you have a few options. I mean, you can go Mark Ingram, Rashad Penny,
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is there.
Devonta Freeman.
Derrick Henry is 24 years old.
Man, Henry is very interesting here. But how does the team actually value Derrick Henry? Because he, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to pull it up, he's in his contract year.
Well, wait, let me ask you this as a redraft question. This year, would you rather have Derrick Henry or Mark Ingram? This one season.
Poof. This one season. Oh, wow.
There's a 5-year gap between those guys. So if you think you're going to get a year or two from Derrick Henry, and he can get that kind of workload that he got at the end of the season, he starts to look more interesting here and maybe undervalued in a dynasty.
Henry, I am correct. Henry is in his contract year right now. I would take him. If the two options are Henry or Ingram for this dynasty league, I would take Henry.
And ironically, if I was taking a running back, I would consider Freeman here.
I would too.
Devonta Freeman's 27 years old, same age as Le'Veon Bell, who went significantly earlier, and the contract situation for Devonta Freeman says he's being paid to be their starter on a good offense.
I'd probably take Freeman.
That's fine with me. I would like to take Freeman here.
All right. Freeman is the pick. Our first running back. Marlon Mack goes next. Ridley, Deshaun Watson, Cooper Kupp, Kareem Hunt, Allen Robinson, Rashad Penny, DJ Moore, Derrick Henry.
I was wondering
Almost.
if Derrick Henry would get back
Aaron
to us.
Rodgers. No, he didn't. But you know who did? Mark Ingram.
Yeah, I
But
don't
do
know.
do you go at the wide receiver position again here? This is a 2-flex league. We need to remember that. It's a 2-flex league. You're going to have to fill out those spots regardless. Do you take best talent available? Do you look towards a guy like Jarvis Landry or Chris Godwin?
Oh, Chris Godwin!
Who could have a major breakout season.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, who I love.
Yes, those were the three names, actually 4 names I was going to highlight. Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, Mike Williams, and then I'd be willing to put Christian Kirk in there as young guys who I think have a very bright future ahead. We're in the 5th round, so you don't have to pay the premium for elite, but I think that someone from that group of names is going to break out this year.
Well, I don't think we take – I like Mike Williams the most, but I don't think we take him because we got Keenan Allen on the roster.
Right.
Godwin is much more of a risk with higher upside than drafting Jarvis Landry here. Landry could step in, and he's 26.
Do you believe that Chris Godwin in that offense has enough to be a 1B?
Let me tell you what I honestly think. Absolutely, if it stood as it stood now. But I am very, very concerned that Tampa Bay spends a high draft capital pick on another
wide receiver.
I am. And because of that fear, if it were me, I'd probably draft Jarvis Landry.
You would take Jarvis over Cortland Sutton?
I think I would.
See, Chris Godwin is the clear-cut pick for me, but I mean, this is a difference, right? Andy, you just traded Chris Godwin to me. I traded for him. I paid up. Right. I see Chris Godwin as a 23-year-old superstar in the making.
I think everybody sees him as a 23-year-old.
Well, sure. 23-year-old superstar in the
26.
making. He's come into the league. He's been great. In the games that he's played without Deshaun Jackson, he showed being a fantasy star. I mean,
he averages 6 targets fewer per game than Jarvis Landry does.
Yeah, that's why. Well, that's
the jump out to me is he just averaged so few targets last year, made it up in touchdowns, scored the same amount of fantasy points as Mike Williams. Chris Godwin, I'm fine with the pick.
I'm fine with it too. I just wanted to highlight where Chris Godwin, because Mike Evans is on that team. Mike Evans is not going anywhere.
He's not a 1.
Cortland Sutton was drafted to be a 1. He was drafted in the 2nd round.
I really want to get him next round.
I don't think that the Denver Broncos are going to spend any kind of high capital on the wide receiver position this season. I think they're set there. But we haven't seen it yet from Cortland Sutton.
I'd rather have Dante Pettis next round than Cortland Sutton. I like both.
Okay.
But to me, we've seen Pettis already in a stretch succeed.
I do not think we take wide receiver here.
Where would you?
I think we take. No, I'm rotating back because of who's on the board. Because you can get a Dante Pettis next round, and we're talking about your flex position. I'd rather take the sure thing in Mark Ingram.
In the 5th round, I wouldn't do it.
All right, Mike, it's your pick. You've got this one, unless you want to hand it off to Brooks. Could always take
Brooks. Who else is on your
curious,
dynasty?
Brooks
Who's on your
playing.
team, Brooks? Who's on your dynasty team?
I'd be going wide out for sure. Personally.
No,
Okay.
which wide?
Chris Godwin or Cortland Sutton, Brooks?
Sutton.
Or Jarvis Landry?
Brooks wants Cortland Sutton, so we're going to do that.
Terrible pick. All right, next. No. Cortland Sutton off the board. Tariq Cohen next. Jarvis Landry, Chris Godwin, Alshon Jeffrey, Baker Mayfield, Mike Williams. A steal, in my opinion, at 5'12". David Njoku, Tevin Coleman, Carson Wentz, Hunter Henry, Mark Ingram, Will Fuller. We're back on the clock, boys. And you know what? Mark Ingram went off 2 picks ago. It's a sad day.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
You're not. This is that whole debate we had on the show the other day, where I was reminding people you don't want to forget that just because you have a short shelf life, it's the same position you need to win the league. You need to have upper echelon running backs to win the league. Just because it's a dynasty league, I worry about what we're going to get out of our remaining picks. I don't know if I want to live on Lamar Miller's of the world.
Well, I get it, but I think Mark Ingram is like if you get 2 years from Mark Ingram, you should be ecstatic. He's about to be 30 years old.
We're getting to the category though where you hope to get 1 year out of a running back.
Yeah, I mean, the tier of running back left on the board right now to me would be the guys like Kenyon Drake, Jordan Howard, Lamar Miller, where they look like they're in a position today to be the starting running back for their team. And after the NFL draft, for any one of those 3 guys, you could have drafted absolutely nothing. So that is one of the feathers in the cap of drafting a guy like Mark Ingram, which we didn't. But because when you draft a guy who just got a big contract for 3 years, they've already told you what you're doing. If you're drafting now in a lot of leagues right now, especially Dynasty, they want to draft as early as possible. They'll do the startup draft now and then the rookie draft after the NFL draft. Those are the questions you're going to have to ask yourself when you're on the clock.
All right, we are on the clock again. We've got a decision to make. Russell Wilson still on the board. Chris Carson. Damian Williams, Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah, Damian Williams
Howard
is interesting, and I'm not going to force us to take him. At what point Jason, you're the most opposed to Damian Williams. So in a dynasty league, is there a point where you'll say, yeah, I'm going to take the shot for Damian Williams?
Yeah, I mean, it would be around right now.
Okay.
I mean, this is the area where you've got a young guy on a great offense. If he is the guy. Like, if Damian Williams ends up with that job, then this is an awesome pick. Like, if you grab Damian Williams and he keeps the job, it's the best pick in the draft.
I think we take Chris Carson right now, and then we come back next round and take Damian Williams and hope he makes it. That's what I would do.
I gotta be reminded of what Chris Carson's contract situation is. He's got 2 years left, so
that's pretty good.
He'll be there at least 2 years.
They run the ball like crazy. Yes, we missed out on Ingram, but you could come back. You could go Carson and Damian Williams and put yourself in a position to have a little bit of depth in a 2-flex league where you need a running back. Devontae Freeman has not been the pinnacle of health. We're going to have to get some running backs that are starting. Yeah, it's your call, though.
I like it. I would say let's play with fire and see what happens. I mean, this is a mock draft. When you're mock drafting at home before your drafts, try things like this. See if you can take risks or if you regret the risks. Like, for instance, maybe you say, let's get nuts and take Cortland Sutton over Chris Godwin and see, what doing something
Talk to me in 5 years, Jason.
Insane. See
We'll
what
see
something
who's better.
insane
I
do to your team.
I see Mike's argument with it. Sutton is the one.
Sure.
And Chris Godwin is your juju for another team.
Enjoy Joe Flacco's one.
Yeah, strong point. All right, we took Chris Carson, and the gamble paid off. Royce Freeman, Russell Wilson, Baldwin, Pettis, Kirk to finish the round. Ingram, Newton, Watkins, Ebron, Boyd. And here we are. Damian Williams available, and he is our selection. So we managed to take Sutton, go wide receiver. Let's just say whatever wide receiver you wanted there.
I would have gone Pettis
Sutton.
or I would have gone Godwin first. But, yeah, Sutton's a great – he was my number one wide receiver going into last year's draft. His year 2. There's definitely a case to be made for Sutton. I just wanted to drive that little bus right over Little Brooks and see what happens.
Do you want to drive the bus all the way to the Mike, are you willing to bet Sutton over Godwin this year? Probably not.
No.
Do it. Wait.
No. Because this is
the Dynasty.
This
pick.
is
It's a
Dynasty.
Dynasty pick.
All right.
I'm talking about the difference this year of Sutton versus Godwin. I think will be very small.
Negligible.
Yeah.
All right, our team. At wide receiver, we have DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, and Cortland Sutton in a Dynasty startup. Zach Ertz is the tight end. Devonta Freeman, Chris Carson, Damian Williams, the running backs. I like it.
Yeah, I think we're off to a really good start here. This is about the time of the draft when you want to look and see what quarterbacks are left just to know how many are you comfortable having. Like, for instance,
You're
Lamar
gonna need a few.
Jackson is young and great. I don't love him in Dynasty. I don't think he holds up for the 7, 8, 9, 10 years like other players can. I mean, who has a longer career of success from this point forward, Matt Ryan or Lamar Jackson? It's debatable.
Right.
There are 11 quarterbacks off the board. The one I'm targeting at this point, and I will allow you to wait as long as you think you can.
I know who it is.
But it's Josh Allen.
Yes.
And we can wait on him. So if
I
you
don't
wanted to
blame
pair
you.
somebody like Cousins with my Allen at some point, yeah, I'm cool.
Give me
Well, here's
Winston and Allen.
Winston.
Josh who?
Josh Stallion.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Josh?
I don't know where it is.
Excellent. I want to play a quick age game. How old is Matt Ryan?
I'm going to go 35.
Yeah, 33, 4.
He'll be 34 in May.
Wow.
So I highlight to say Matt Ryan still has
In today's NFL,
plenty of time, and he has been very, very solid for fantasy football.
Players like
people,
that.
and
How solid, Mike? Solid enough to
I don't know if I would
draft him? Right.
Oh,
here?
I would love to draft him. I just don't know if I would take him.
we don't need to take him yet.
Let me bring up some
Matt
other names.
Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jameis Winston, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Phillip Rivers. There's so many quarterbacks left. I feel like if we drafted one now while going a tier further down and missing out on, James Washington's potential or, a good running back, I think taking a quarterback would be a mistake.
All right, I'm not seeing a lot of names jump out to me at wide receiver. D.D. Westbrook, you could go short-term rental. Julian Edelman, get a strong year potentially out of him, but that expiration date is coming soon.
Golden Tate as well I know he's a little bit older, but just got paid, big contract. He's inheriting the massive amount of targets lost.
I lean here going with Golden Tate. In the hindsight of this draft where we took Chris Carson, I wish we'd have taken Pettis there and then just gotten the remainder of Chris Carson or Damian Williams with our
'cause
next pick.
Lamar Miller's on the board now.
Right.
Yeah, I do too. That's a regret. Because you could have gone Damian Williams, Lamar Miller, and I would have felt just as fine as I do with Chris Carson and Damian Williams, but we would have had Dante Pettis. So that's why you mock draft.
Yep.
So let's look at these wide receivers here. Golden Tate, the known production or the known opportunity, I should say, of Golden Tate, at least for that 2 to 3 years, I think it's still strong.
I think you have to take him here, and let me tell you why. Because Sutton is not a known commodity. He may have potential, but right now our only wideouts are Hopkins and Allen. At least Tate is a known commodity in the space.
Yeah.
Is there any other known commodity there? Emmanuel Sanders. No, I'm not going to pair him with Sutton.
No.
Julian Edelman would be the pick.
That's what I was going to say. The only other known commodity is Julian Edelman.
I would
he'll probably drop, though, because he's even further up there in age. I think you could get Julian Edelman next round.
You want to take Tate?
That's who I would be drafting.
I feel like we're pigeonholed. And
because of our decision.
Here's the thing, though, that you need to realize. So we're still looking early in drafts. You have so many guys that you're going to take that, yeah, I mean, maybe Sutton doesn't pop off, but if you did end up continuing to draft guys like James Washington and Cortland Suttons and a bunch of and Antonio Callaways, and you stock your roster with these guys, some of them are going to pop, and it's going to be worth it. You're going to have those young guys that come through.
Yeah, I agree. Let's grab Tate, solidify that position. Some highlights from the rest of that round. Matt Ryan actually did go with the last pick of the 8th round.
Yeah, there was a little quarterback run.
And then Lamar Jackson and Kirk Cousins right before our pick here at 9:06. Kiki QT, that could have been an interesting pick too, actually.
I considered him.
Him over Tate would have been.
I considered him, but there's
the injuries.
Yeah, the injuries to his hamstrings. On top of that, we already have Hopkins. Do we want to put everything into the Houston Texans offense? So taking a look at the quarterback landscape, every team but ours has a quarterback. A couple of teams have already taken their second quarterback. I want to wait as long as possible, but I think we are at the point here where we're running out of options where I would consider a guy in the high probability of putting up top 12 weeks on the reg.
Josh Allen will, but who else are you interested in?
To me, the pick would be Jameis Winston. For fantasy, he's been great. I mean, he's
not as great as the Big Ben fella down at the bottom.
Sure.
You can wait and take Ben as your second
age,
quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing you need to keep in mind. If you want a Big Ben or a Tom Brady or one of these Drew Brees, even a lot of times you can get them in the double-digit rounds because nobody wants to draft a guy who they think their career they could retire at the end of next year, and then they're wasting a draft pick. But yet this year, you ride them to a championship.
All right, Mike, I'm going to hand over the pick to you on this one. Tough decisions. James Washington still out there. Julian Edelman still out there. You could go the youngster route. You could go the old man route. LaShawn McCoy.
Oof. I'm looking at quarterback, and it's tough but Jameis, if we're gonna go with Josh Allen as the one, I think you can wait. But Jimmy Handsome and Jameis Winston, they're nice. I think they're nice here in the 9th round. I'm gonna take Jimmy Handsome.
Jimmy Garoppolo,
even coming off the ACL.
The pick. James Washington, Dede Westbrook next. C.J. Anderson, Austin Hooper, Deion Lewis, Jameis Winston. See you later. Drew Brees goes in the 10th round, and we're coming back around to our pick. Dallas Goedert.
Do you know who you would have picked with that last pick, Andy? I'm just curious. You gave it to Mike. I would have gone Winston.
Yeah, I wouldn't have taken a quarterback. I would have been totally content pairing Josh Allen with Big Ben and having those as my main quarterbacks.
It's understandable.
And then drafting another depth, maybe one at the very end. But I probably would have gone wide receiver like James Washington. Probably would have done that. Here we are in the 10th round, and I think we should move a little quicker to wrap. Our team right now just grabbed Jimmy G. We've got, 3 running backs. We've got 4 wideouts. It's a 2-flex league. We got Zach Ertz. Is there any value to be had? I mean, look, O.J. Howard is sitting there somehow. That's got to be a
bug in the system.
That's got to be a little bit of a bug.
Not necessarily. I mean, the guys
who have gone.
He has massive upside, but he keeps getting season-ending injuries.
Yeah, if I was in a draft and O.J. Howard was here, he's not leaving the 10th round off my team.
Do you feel confident enough in our roster?
What about a guy like Jay Ajayi, though, where you could take him here?
No.
So I was looking at Jay Ajayi. I was kind of considering Ajayi. He's still younger. He could end up signing a good free agent contract.
His legs are not young.
But then I was like, if I had to decide right now between Jay Ajayi and LaShawn McCoy, who's still available, I think I'd rather get.
I would take Shady.
I think I would rather take Shady.
Tyrell Williams, Curtis Samuel, John Ross, Devin Funchess.
I think I'd take O.J. Howard.
Yeah, I think I would too. O.J. Howard.
The upside is just – it's too massive.
Emmanuel Sanders, Jay Ajayi off the board right after
then
him.
LaShawn
McCoy.
I was really hoping either Ajayi or McCoy got back to us at this next pick.
Here's an interesting observation. Rob Gronkowski in a Dynasty startup, the 3rd pick of the 11th round.
Yeah, sounds about too early.
Well, you're at the point where
What would you do for 1 year of Gronk? If I told you get the tight end 6?
For a year and then he retires, I
Yes.
would say
11th round,
Okay.
because you're at the point where if you just set your pick on fire, it's fine. You're in the 11th round.
so. There's a couple guys out there that are deeper. This is the time of the draft where you don't need to necessarily go ADP. You're deep enough where you take the guys you like. Look deeper on your lists and say who is out there that I think has a really good chance I want in a dynasty league. There's guys out there like Geronimo Allison and Curtis Samuel that I like. And whether they go now or 3 rounds later.
What about Latavius Murray?
Oh my goodness.
I was actually gonna bring him up when we were doing
We
the
need
Mark
another running back.
When
I
we
didn't
were
even know
doing the
he was
Mark
out there.
Ingram talk, I was going to bring up the point of I would rather wait 5 rounds and take the guy in the Mark Ingram role.
Well, congratulations, Mike, because we just did. Look,
I guess we just did.
Latavius
did
Murray
we?
is a great
We need wide receivers.
pick here. No.
No, we needed running backs too.
I was going to jump in and ask, are there any super high-level handcuffs out there, or is it too early you guys would do that?
I'm probably not thinking that way
Okay.
in a dynasty. I'm probably trying to load my roster up with talent.
Yeah, not yet.
You've got a deep roster. Now, we're only drafting, 5 deep on this one for the sake of time. But, that's where you're looking at guys like Elijah McGuire, Carlos Hyde. Those are handcuffs. Big Ben, Phillip Rivers went right before our pick here. We got 2 left. We're in the 12th round.
We're going 2 more rounds.
Yeah, we're just going 2 more picks. Latavius Murray was off the board. We probably need to pick up a wideout, maybe 2 of them. Options.
I love Geronimo Allison. I know he only got a 1-year deal, but he was seemingly the number 2 for Aaron Rodgers.
What about Deshaun Jackson?
He's
That's
young-
who
and
I was going to go with.
Deshaun Jackson's great. Just
I
signed
would
a
rather
3-year deal.
I would take the guy who took the 3-year deal with a great quarterback.
Man,
I want
things
that security
changed so
blanket.
quick in Dynasty. I was trying to give Deshaun Jackson away
Yeah.
on one of my Dynasty leagues for 6 months, and nobody would touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, but as soon as you get a 3-year contract, now keep in mind, probably only the first 2 years have guaranteed money, so he'll be cut. But still, in that year
Coming
3.
off a 20-touchdown season, you're wrong.
But for the next 2 years, it's great. And when you're in a dynasty and you're doing deeper starting rosters, right, multiple flex like this league, that's where throwing a Deshaun Jackson type in that deep flex is fantastic.
All right, Jason, don't worry about it. We got Geronimo Allison in the next round.
Geronimo!
All right, D-Jax, Geronimo Allison, Golden Tate, Keenan Allen, and DeAndre Hopkins, the wideouts for our roster. Devontae Freeman, Chris Carson, Damian Williams, and Latavius Murray at running back. That's a position we'd have to fill out a little bit as the draft went on. Zach Ertz and O.J. Howard, I think we have the best tandem possible at tight end. That would give you some trade leverage. And then Jimmy G at quarterback. Josh Allen was going to be my eventual. Oh, no, he went in the 12th round.
And he went with Ben.
Yeah, big
You
Ben,
might have
Phil Rivers,
waited
Josh
too
Allen.
long.
Well, Jimmy G threw us off. That's all your fault, Mike.
It's too handsome.
He's
we
handsome.
We couldn't see past his handsomeness.
You'd rather have Jimmy G than Josh Allen and Big Ben?
You'd rather have
Yeah.
So why Jimmy G over Jameis?
Because Jameis is in a contract year, and if he takes a big turd on the season,
Which he's been known to do.
he's not a starting quarterback in 2 years.
He's Ryan Tannehill in 2 years.
Your
Exactly.
guys' fear is
Yeah.
that Jameis is one and done.
That's just it
Right,
weighs in.
that there's a possibility.
My
Yes.
fear is he's none and done.
I side more with Jason that Jameis Winston is going to have a great year, but when I know that Garoppolo is the future for Kyle Shanahan's offense, then
Hold up.
oh
Are you saying that you think Tampa Bay has that there's a chance they draft quarter? What are they pick 5 or something? Are you saying that you think there's a chance Jameis Winston is not the starting quarterback for 2019?
No, I think he's going to be the starting quarterback.
I think he means none as in is not good this year.
Yeah, I'm putting. Let's just rewind the tape
Okay.
to a season ago
Okay.
when Jameis Winston, this perennial superstar of your dreams that you love so much, couldn't even get his job back from Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Hey, to be fair, he got it back twice
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
extra.
Look,
there's not a long leash
he
here
lost-
for the organizational confidence.
Yes, he lost his job. I mean, he started the year suspended and then lost his job. But he also, in very few games, he finished as the number 1, the number 10, the number
Doesn't
8,
matter.
the number 6, the number 11, the number 3 in those short games on a weekly basis. The guy puts up fantasy numbers.
So did Blake Bortles. He's a backup now
Fair.
in Los Angeles.
Fair.
So
Can
he do it? Sure, but he's more of a Blake Bortles comp than he is anybody else.
The last defense for Jameis, when it comes to the benchings, Dirk Cutter knew he was going to lose his job if his team did not win. And when you start the season the way that Ryan Fitzpatrick started, you can't bench him. Like, you have to go with the hot hand.
Sure. We've seen very inconsistent play from Jameis Winston.
Yes,
agreed.
I agree.
So
I can get behind.
He's got enough. He's got a ceiling. That's great for fantasy players. But he's got a floor, and it's gross. It's a lot of interceptions.
It's a movie theater floor.
It's not.
Ooh.
No, you need.
That's going to make sound as you walk across. it.
Yes.
So we'll see. I want him to succeed.
Stop.
Oh,
Is
no.
that the soda on the
Yeah,
ground?
that's me walking across.
All right. We want to thank Sleeper. We use the Sleeper
terrible.
app.
Not
use,
Sleeper.
We
Sleeper's
use the
great.
mock draft online. And that's how we did the Dynasty startup today. All right, and before we close this whole thing out, that was a fun mock. Let's go ahead and jump into
Pristine deal of the day.
Now, yesterday, Brooks, you actually had to message me because you couldn't believe
There were too many good
there
deals.
were like 4 deals and you couldn't pick one. There are hundreds that are sold every single day on pristineauction.com. There was a Nick Chubb, a signed Cleveland Browns jersey. Please tell me this was us. $58.25. Do we have that, Brooks?
It was not us.
Mike!
You let us
You
all
failed.
down.
Look,
You made someone out there very happy.
I let
letting
myself
this one
down.
slide.
Unbelievable.
I
Well,
let myself down.
every day, hundreds of them. We were talking, there's a bunch of T.Y. Hiltons out there right now.
There was even Deshaun Watson under 100, which the good quarterbacks, that's hard to
This
find. man.
is the time to get in. Because people aren't paying attention to the
Yeah.
NFL. They're not crazies
Like you.
like us.
All right, pristineauction.com. That is it for today's show. Thanks for tuning in. At the FF Ballers on Twitter.
Yes.
It was a fun one.
Thank you for listening, everyone. We will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers.